All right, folks, we're back. Part 2, Secret of Secrets. Man, this is, look, great episode. Terrible book. Terrible book. Don't read it. Just listen to us talk about it. But you can also watch us talk about it. Patreon.com/late night video version of last week's, this week's, probably next week's, most weeks. $5 a month or more gets you mini episodes as well. And any tier gets you ad-free versions of every show. You could actually tell in this episode that we had a bad time reading this book, but we had a great time talking about it. So enjoy the episode, and thank you for your support.
All right. Well, we've returned. It's another episode of Late Night with Brian Wecht, Bad Book Club edition. We are talking about Dan Brown's The Secret of Secrets. And after our broad strokes first episode, we are back with part 2 to get into the nitty gritty of what makes this secret so secret.
Or is it the No Eddie Grow Eddie?
It is the No Eddie Grow Eddie.
Jokes.
I know we talked about it at the top of the previous episode. I still can't get over just how pseudoscientific and past as fact this book is now, because we took a brief break. I was going through my highlights, more like lowlights, which is the exact caliber of joke, quote unquote joke, that Dan Brown makes in this book.
So I was going to say this, the last one. There is nothing funny in this book. There's a lot of stuff that thinks it's funny, but the book... I mean, it is, the level of comedy is so low that it is essentially humorless.
But he's trying repeatedly, which is what makes it so particularly sad.
That's exactly right. Yes. He's trying, and his it is like someone performing. There's a famous thing where supposedly Stravinsky, the composer, had never heard jazz music, but had seen scores. And then he he wrote a piece, which was what he thought jazz music sounded like. Now, this may be, I think people have taken issue with this story and said, obviously, he heard jazz and he's just making this up. But anyway, if this story is true, Stravinsky had never heard jazz. He just saw the music. Taking that, he wrote his own piece, which was like a jazz piece. That is what comedy is in this book. It's like Dan Brown has heard of comedy and has seen vestiges of it somewhere, and now is trying to do it. But he's not. And with the Stravinsky piece, the cool part is it's like it's in a jazz idiom, but it sounds like totally fucked jazz. Called the Ebony Concerto. It's fun. It's written for, I think it was originally written for Benny Goodman. And it's a very interesting, cool piece that I like a lot. It does not sound like jazz, but you can understand how that was maybe its root. That is what is happening here with comedy. You're like, yeah, that has the structure of like a quip or a joke, but it lacks any of the punch.
Yeah, and it's often the most hack shit
completely.
Possible.
All the time.
It's to the point that they don't register as jokes, such as saying Bueller when nobody's answering him.
That's right.
That's not actually a joke anymore. That's just kind of like a cliche.
Dan Brown, the level of cliche in this book, in the prose, in the jokes,
especially when they're flirting, quote unquote flirting.
Oh my God. It's like, also, I mean, I maybe should have said this last time. Here's my big problem with this. They don't talk like smart people. They talk like dumb people. Everybody in this book is dumb, and people are these are two of the supposedly smartest people in the world. Big fancy professors. They talk like junior high school students. They are idiots, and they've never met a fact that they won't just barf all over you the moment they get a chance. And I hate the way they talk. I'm certainly more sensitive to this than most, having spent the better part of my career in academia. And some smart people are kind of dumb, but They don't talk like this.
But there's like a specific way in which an actually smart person is a blowhard, and there's none of that here. And I think...
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There's a... Dan Brown really has this in common with Eliezer Yudkowsky in that both have completely unfounded and frankly bizarre fantasies about what higher academia is like and what it's personally done them wrong about, despite neither having any experience in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like this really weird disdain that comes through that's just coming from a place sort of like the movie Velvet Buzzsaw, which is about, like the art world's hypocrisy and everything by someone who clearly knows nothing. It's like an antiquated view. It's like an 80s stereotype of how the art world is and not even remotely close. So it's like you're writing a stereotype on top of stereotypes that were already dated. And that's how it feels when he talks about anything in this.
Yeah, it's... I just hate it so much.
It's... like this whole scenario, which we've kind of come back into, and I was going to read from this, but it's so long. So Catherine introduces her talk on noetics and then immediately throws to Langdon, who then he like does his own little mini lecture in this. And if I, in a weirdly unprofessional move during my like seminal talk, tossed to like my guy I've been fucking for 3 days, and he took the opportunity to like actively try to make me look stupid by catching me out on things, it would be like, all right, well, that was a mistake. I will be seeing you again. Never. Goodbye. And also that everything's framed as this like everyone's wrong about this. So when he does, all right then, he said, the world's most common religious symbol. Does anyone have a guess?
Yes.
A dozen hands went up. Excellent, Langdon said. Any guesses that are not the crucifix?
I highlighted
Every single hand went down.
I think I told you this. I highlighted this, and my note was, it's going to be the sun or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the halo.
Yeah.
And oh, I forgot about this. He talks about how old the halo is. Then, wonderful. Thank you, Professor, Catherine said, reaching for the microphone. But Langdon ignored her and pivoted away playfully, a touch of payback. And he keeps going about halo, which it's like so fucking disrespectful. Like, girl,
it sucks. Yeah.
She shouldn't have called you out, but also don't take the like your payback should be like, I don't know, you kiss her in an alleyway, not like I'm gonna take over your talk to be boring. And
right after this is particularly awful.
Like, he's talking about halos and radiant crowns. Yes, yeah. That's what I was going to get to. Langdon turned back to Catherine with a devious smile. Perhaps Dr. Solomon knows what this type of halo is called. He tipped the mic to her. Like, whew, oh my God. I would have immediately been like, fuck off. I don't know this guy.
Also, it's the worst thing you can do. I've been at seminars. I was at a seminar once where a guy was giving a talk and his collaborator was in the audience. And the collaborator, this is very rare, but I did see it happen in this one instance. And the collaborator, like, kind of on purpose sandbagged him, like asked him hard questions that he knew he didn't know the speaker didn't know the answer to. And the collaborator was like kind of a notoriously difficult guy. And afterwards, everyone was like, what the fuck? Like, you don't do that to a friend. You don't ask them questions that they're going to have a hard time answering to.
Because your dick was just in. Like,
yeah,
come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, that is the ultimate fuck you in a talk, is to be like, and do you know? Fuck you.
He tipped the mic to her. A radiant crown, she said without missing a beat. Someone did her reading.
Yeah.
Langdon brought the mic back to his lip. Like, then
the famous professor.
Going.
Oh my God, she did her reading.
Fuck you. And he does this multiple times. And then he does another, like, bet you didn't know. Langdon gave the crowd a conspiratorial grin. Few people realize this, but the most photographed object in all of New York City happens to be ... a radiant crown. Puzzled looks, even from Catherine.
The most obvious thing in the world.
Ladies
right away.
and germs, take a moment. It's the most photographed object in New York City. Don't even think about the
And
radiant
there's a
crown
crown
part.
involved.
And there's a crown.
What could it be?
I'm interrupting this to go
what-
ask a second grade class this exact question.
Oh, what is it? I don't know.
And he keeps going. Any guesses, he asked. None of you has ever photographed the radiant crown that hovers 300 feet above New York Harbor. Langdon waited as a murmur of revelation grew in the crowd.
We
The
finally
Statue of Liberty, someone called out.
Yeah.
I hate you. As Langdon, and then he goes on, as Langdon handed the mic back to Catherine, she was beaming. Thank you, she mouthed to him as he returned to his seat amid applause.
As he sat down, someone turned to him and said, "You're actually stunningly attractive for your age and
You look
fit."
like, are you a model?
Yeah. I like calling consciousness the C word. I can't. Right. Ho,
Scattered
ho, ho,
laughter
ho,
rippled
ho.
through the room again.
Is that a real thing? Maybe, but I doubt it. I don't know.
And also
Certainly
making
sucks.
a cunt joke is like so many levels. I mean, Dan Brown's writing has the personality of wet cardboard, which is the real C word.
Yeah.
This book makes me want to be a C word, which I am.
On the next page, there's another stunned silence.
Oh, yes.
There are a
I
lot
was
of
going to read
stunned
this too, so
silences,
you
yeah.
go ahead.
Let's see. Can we all
You can start with wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful, Catherine said. We've all just agreed on the currently accepted model of human consciousness. After a beat, she sighed heavily. The problem is, the currently accepted model is dead wrong. Your
Italics.
consciousness is not created by your brain, and in fact, your consciousness is not even located inside your head. A stunned silence followed. The spectacled woman in the front row said, "But if my consciousness is not located inside my head, where is it?"
Is it in my butt?
Yeah.
What? Do you...
That's right. Catherine then says, "It's in my butt," and she rips a huge fart. And she
End
goes,
talk. Thank you for
"Gotcha."
coming.
"Yeah." I'm so glad you asked. I'm so glad you asked, Catherine said, smiling to the assembled crowd. This is maybe the worst line in the book coming up here. Settle in, folks. We're in for quite a ride tonight.
Hold on to your butts, because she got a standing ovation. Her presentation had been a dazzling tour de force that left the crowd stunned and clamoring for more.
Yeah. And presented as if this is real. As if this is real science. Insane. Absolutely insane. Dan Brown is now in science jail. He was on probation. He is in science jail now.
He's going to be executed for his crimes.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
He's hanging out there with Michio Kaku. And they're just blowing each other's minds with facts all the time.
They can hang out together.
That
Big
is
vibe.
fucking, have fun. Have a good time, guys.
And similarly, not only is it scientific misinformation that stuns and shocks people. Again, that's the other thing. We talked about this in the other two, but like, of course people are stunned by shit that's made up.
Yeah. Well, that exactly 100%. Would you believe it if I told you that we knew everything was an illusion?
Yeah. That
Well,
actually
yeah, it's
this
not.
is a sim that this is God's save of Sims.
You know what I like on the next page? They're talking about meeting Dr. Brigitte Gessner, and he says, Langdon, quote, "found her insufferable." And I was like, well, if this guy found someone insufferable, holy shit.
And what's
That's
crazy is she's the one person in the book who's like, she's doing it in a shitty way, but she's like, yeah, this noetic shit is not real, and that's
Yes.
her crime.
And she's presented like the
she's
bad guy,
presented
yes.
like she
She's
is
murdered
annoying.
immediately. Yeah.
Yeah, like and the whole time Robert's sitting there like, I can't believe Catherine is holding her own as this woman blatantly disrespects her in the corner of this bar and not in front of a large group of people like I did last night.
Yeah. And also, by the way, that's when you do it. If you have a disagreement with another scientist, you just talk to them about it. I mean, this is the one thing
And
science is supposed to
graciously-
do. You say, hey, I don't think that's right. Can we figure it out? You don't try to fucking sandbag them in front of, in a prestigious lecture.
Gessner is the one who invited her to do the talk.
Yeah.
She had ulterior motives, but like,
Yeah.
This woman who invited you to state your case is like, well, I'd love to talk about it in a private environment as you enjoy your hallucinogenic absinthe, as everyone knows that it's totally still hallucinogenic and is still sold at quantities that would have an effect.
Right. And this adult woman can't handle her liquor at all, by the way. We'll get
to where this point is, because it happens later, way later than it should, but where Langdon is talking about, like, I'd rather be enjoying my Vesper martini instead of this. Yeah. My mouth tastes like breakfast. Langdon,
that thing was nuts.
Anyway, I was building up to not only are lies treated as if they're stunning. As the golem passed the couple, they glanced over at him and spontaneously gasped, stepping backward. He was well accustomed to this reaction from strangers. It reminded him he had a physical form, even if they could not see what he truly was.
Wait, real quick. Do you say golem or gollum?
I don't know.
I've always said golem, but I'm not sure.
Golem in the context of what this is.
I guess.
Is like
I'm
in the
not
Hebrew
sure.
sense.
Yes,
but,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and it's literally in the next paragraph talking about how costumes at night are common, and yet he's still getting shocked.
Yeah.
If you're operating in the shadows and you're like trying to kill people and whatnot, don't you not want attention called to you anyway? So
well, you won't have it because Prague is the city of cosplay.
So true, King. Should we talk about the golem's release?
Yeah, I think we should.
I'll real quick say, are you sure you want a symbologist on your arm at a black-tied dinner?
Oh,
I asked Clooney, but his tux is at the dry cleaners. Langdon groaned. Are all noeticists this tenacious? Only the good ones, she said. Well. And I'll take that as a yes. That's none of those are jokes or flirting or anything. That's nothing.
Also,
that's
there's
your
no such
first draft.
thing as a symbologist, and there's no such thing as a noeticist. So,
a made-up thing and a huckster, a new age huckster. Okay, yeah. I was going to get into this last time, but Dan Brown's an atheist, right? As we know, this is enumerated in all of his books, especially the Langdon ones. Langdon is into religious symbology, but is constantly talking about how religion is dumb. And yet, he's buying wholesale into this made-up shit while in the next sentence talking about how religion is dumb, with no reversal on that ever eventually.
But this is something you do see. It's interesting. I follow this kind of stuff. You do see some of these. There's a divide between atheists and kind of critical thinkers, right? So, and I've seen this in action. I remember when I was a postdoc at Michigan, I gave a talk at a local skeptics group, and it was a mix of like young people and old people. And the old people were nuts. And I remember one guy asked me a question. He's like, when I was a kid, they had discovered 2 extra planets and now they're both gone. How do you explain that? And I was like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. But I can assure you the number of planets has, stayed pretty much the same since the discovery of Pluto, although that got demoted to a different type of object. But objects haven't appeared and reappeared. And I was talking with people about it, and the crucial thing was the old people were all there because they were vestiges of the atheist movement, not the skeptics thing. And they had been kind of absorbed into the skeptics. But the atheists were generally, they were anti-God, and that was their defining thing. And a lot of them were like conspiracy nuts. Yeah. Because they were not
they're anti-authority.
Pretty much. Exactly. They weren't, let's be rational, critical thinkers. It were, fuck you, that's not right. And that is a divide that I've seen, is that just because you're an atheist, Bill Maher is kind of an example of this too. Just because you're an atheist doesn't mean you're like a careful, critical thinker. You've defined yourself in opposition to something else. And maybe that's what's going on here.
And that's what was fascinating, because I read several of these supposedly backed up papers written by noeticists where in the same breath, like when they're railing against skeptics, because that one, the like pathological skepticism is not the only paper deriding skeptics that I read. And in the same sentence of being like, and with how common, like they're trying to lump skeptics in with like climate deniers and QAnon people.
That's right. That's what
that
what they all do.
And there was the quote I think that I sent you of like the founder of the Institute for Noetic Science, quote unquote science, saying that like, well, skeptics simply fear the idea that I might be able to read your mind. Isn't that scary? They're so resistant to change because they're so scared of new ideas. It's the most like
the dumbest, oldest
you
argument. Yeah. And because the truth is that every skeptic out there, pretty much, if you could actually prove it, would be like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like, it's this totally hackneyed thing of you're just scared of new ideas. No, it's just that your idea is crazy and demands incontrovertible proof, which you don't have.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about this sweet release that the golem loves to engage in. He takes his little rod and rubs it all
wand.
Over. Yeah.
The ether was pulling harder at him now, but he did not reach for his wand. It is time. And like naked, the special room he had created to receive this gift.
Yeah.
He found himself naked and supine in the exact center of the mat. Then he secured the perforated, what is that word?
Where are we?
The ball and the ball gag.
Hold on.
It is Shengbao baby is how it's
where are you exactly?
I'm 6 minutes, 9 minutes left. I'm chapter 3. It's the end of chapter 3. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I hadn't gotten there yet. There it is. Cheng. Right. I had this. I had this as well. Chengbao baby. I guess Chengbao baby. The silicone ball in his mouth and released. Yeah.
Capital R released.
Yeah.
And it's unclear what the nature of this release could possibly be. But based on the fact that Dan Brown is trying so hard to make it sound fucky that it's obviously not that.
Yeah. He has his little purple fuck room.
His little purple, timeless fuck room.
Yep.
Oh, brother. Well, Langdon swims. He has to go swim.
Oh. Did you highlight, what's the first thing you highlighted in chapter 4? I have 4 words that I highlighted.
Well, it starts for me with the notion was both unnerving and exciting for the consummate bachelor.
I did highlight that, but before that, I highlighted slid into his Speedo.
I didn't even clock it, but that's amazing. Of course he wears a fucking Speedo. Focusing on the cadence of his breathing, Langdon drifted into the semi-meditative state that swimming always afforded him. Mm-hmm. His muscular frame relaxed and his body became body became streamlined and lithe, powering forward through the darkness at an impressive pace for a man in his 50s. Look, there's a 70-year-old in this book who is running and gunning around and also has a chess ELO of, I forget, but oh, man.
Yeah, I highlighted exactly that. It's like, come on, dude.
So we go back once again to Catherine's talk, which we're going to be hearing about forever. This is like Dan Brown's favorite exposition dump in this book, is to just refer to the talk.
Go back to flashback, yeah.
As with all outdated beliefs, she said, today's accepted model of human consciousness now finds itself challenged by a rising tide of phenomena that it simply cannot explain. Phenomena that noetic labs around the world have meticulously authenticated.
All those labs.
And that humans have witnessed for centuries. Even so, traditionalist science still refuses to deal with the existence of these phenomena or even accept that they are real. Instead, they trivialize them as flukes and outliers filed under a dismissive heading. Paranormal, which has become shorthand for not science at all.
Yeah. And then there's well, it's the next paragraph.
Oh, yeah.
The comment caused several mutters from the back of the auditorium, but Catherine continued unfazed. In fact, you're all quite familiar with these paranormal phenomena, she declared. They go by names like ESP, precognition, telepathy, clairvoyance, out-of-body experiences. Despite being deemed paranormal, they are in fact entirely normal. They occur every day, both in science labs with carefully controlled experiments and also in the real world.
The room had now fallen completely silent.
Yeah, there was another stunned silence. The question is not if these phenomena are real, Catherine said. Science has proven they are. The question is, why do so many of us remain blind to them? It's like this again. He is presenting this as if it's real. It's insane. This pisses me off.
And again,
so
and in terms
much.
of like, you're stupid if you don't think that this is real, because there are plenty of cross-referenced and totally peer-reviewed studies backing this up, of which I will tell you about some to prove that they're real, that if you just Google it, you'll see that they've been disproven. Also, the entire discussion about like, I don't see why I have to repeat an experiment for it to be considered science.
We're going to get there.
We're going to get there. The next thing that I highlighted was just the sentence, mysterious Jewish writer Franz Kafka was born and worked here, penning his darkly surreal The Metamorphoses.
I highlighted that.
I love calling him
well.
mysterious Jewish writer.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Okay, and so there's this whole plot point about how Catherine has a dream that's so scary. And then Robert Langdon passes a woman who looks and smells like the figure in the dream, which then causes him to dart back into the Four Seasons, pull the fire alarm, run up into the suite to make sure if Catherine's there, and then, barring that, jumps out the window into a body of water. He can swim, so it's fine. Notably, his phone also falls out of his pocket.
Yep, this is a plot point.
And it's a dumb plot point too. Anyway, so he sees this, and he sees evidence that perhaps Catherine had a vision that proves her non-local consciousness theory.
Yeah. Which
and turns out,
why would you need to prove it? It's being proved every day in the real world all the time. You don't need to prove it anymore. It's unambiguously true. Yeah.
Duh. Check your sources. Do your own research. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so this is the thing. This becomes the setup to get the, what's the Czech version of police in this?
Oh, I can't even remember now.
I don't remember either. The police, the same characters we have in everything, where it's like,
I think
here's the police
word
sergeant.
is basically police, but I can't remember exactly what it is.
Here's the sergeant who's suspicious of this
Uzi
American.
is what you're looking for? Do you want Uzi?
Maybe, I don't know.
Man, Czech is a cool fucking language.
It is. It's awesome. I can't believe Dan Brown would do this to them. Let's see. The ether had passed, or the ether had passed, and the golem lay naked on the hemp mat. His journey had climaxed, as it always did, with waves of euphoria and an overwhelming sense of spiritual connection to all things. To receive the ether was a non-sexual orgasm, a cresting wave of mystical bliss that unlocked a gateway through which to glimpse capital R reality as it really was.
The phrase non-sexual orgasm sucks.
Yeah, come up with something else, buddy.
It's so off-putting.
Yeah, I mean, in the same way that anybody doing anything, I like that Robert Langdon says, like, nope, I've never done a drug ever. Really? Oh, I would never have guessed based on the way that you write about any substance ever, including the previous two books where we had the assassin who was like a monk, and then the assassin who loved fucking and drugs because that's what was bred into him by his non-white ancestors. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
The next thing I have highlighted is in the next chapter, chapter 7. Editor Jonas.
Hold on, wait. I
yes.
needed to jump in with the fact that there's more stuff about the golem. She has found love, or so she believes. The golem felt sickened to know she was giving her body to someone so unworthy. He does not understand you as I do. Nobody does. Normal.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. I know exactly what you highlighted. Go for it.
Yes. Editor Jonas Faulkner was a night owl.
Yep.
At a youthful 55, he still kept the hours of a teenager, ran daily in Central Park, and wore, ready ladies, black jeans and sneakers to work. His wavy black hair, fortunately, was still thick, but his beard was definitely showing signs of gray. Reminiscent of Joseph Conrad, he liked to think. Now, why Joseph Conrad? Like, we're just pulling a name out of literature, right?
Well, it's
Joseph
like
Conrad, like, why Joseph Conrad? What is Joseph Conrad doing that someone else would?
It's okay. So it's crazy that Dan Brown writes about writers writing and editors editing in a way that someone who has never written anything before would write it, and not like one of the best-selling authors of all time who has clearly dealt and based this character on his editor.
And by the way, that is his, isn't Penguin Random House? It is his publisher, right?
Yeah, it is. And an anagram, barely an anagram of his editor and best friend, who the book is dedicated to.
Yes. But it's
Faulkman
so clever.
loved the undisturbed silence of these late hours.
Faulkman, like, it's such a... Oh, come on.
That's bad.
A bad name.
Faulkman loved the undisturbed silence of these late hours, savoring his solitude as he wrestled with complex storylines and knotted prose, writing detailed pages of notes for his authors. Again, as someone who has never published anything, that is how you would talk about it. There's another thing later talking about like where editors are staying up at all hours of the night, you know, neurotic and fretting about their work. Oy vey. So the manuscript gets hacked. That's what happens in that chapter. There's another dream, and so Langdon starts going through the fact that, like, obviously the dream wasn't a presentiment and someone set them up. How could this have happened? Catherine cites a novel that predicts the Titanic sinking.
Yeah, all of her examples are terrible.
Incredibly, the book was published 14 years before the Titanic disaster. It so specifically described the ship's construction, navigational course, and sinking that the coincidences have never been explained.
Except that sometimes coincidences happen. I don't even know if this is true. I presume it is. But I don't know. There are a lot of books. Like,
there are a lot of books. Is certainly maybe as factual a statement as Dan Brown could have made, but didn't. Yeah. Is this where she starts getting into the BEM stuff?
Yes, pretty much. I don't know if she says BEM specifically here. She does, but as it turns out, Catherine said, the brain reacts not only before the image is displayed, but before the computer's random number generator has even chosen which image to show. It's as if the brain is not predicting reality so much as creating it. That kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like all these quote-unquote studies she's talking about are known to be wrong. All right, moving on.
God, this shit sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, Robert thinks that the bomb is made up, and then the chief of police tells him, actually, we did defuse a bomb at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So you're in trouble now because you somehow knew about the bomb. So how did you know about the bomb?
Yeah, spoiler alert, there was no bomb. So we learn that later.
So that's a really twist. Initially, there was no bomb. Actually, yes, there was a bomb. 6 words that changed his world. There was no bomb, actually.
Yeah. And then
later, there is a bomb. A bomb is central to the climax of the story. Shocking.
All right, so...
Introduce this handsome, model-like, statuesque...
we have a non-white character who's... kind of
who's
a good
definitely
guy
gonna last through the entire book, right?
So this agent shows up at the hotel.
It's from the
standing
embassy.
In the foyer. We're in chapter 10 now. Standing in the foyer was a handsome, perhaps 30-year-old black man who was Langdon's height, slightly over 6 feet, with a shaved head, a bright smile, and a chiseled face. Immaculately dressed in a blue blazer, pink shirt, and foulard necktie, the man looked more like a male model than someone with whom Captain Janacek had just been arguing in Czech. Anyway, yeah. So
it does. This really stood out to me in this one of audibly saying dialogue in a language, and then they're still saying the audible dialogue in English right afterwards.
Yes,
in so
absolutely.
many places in this book, to a level that's like exclamations. Like, I'm going to say holy shit twice in 2 languages to call you a liar.
This was new to me. Tell me if you'd heard this. Michael Harris, the man said, extending his hand. It's an honor to meet you, Professor Langdon. His accent was American, maybe mainline. I've never heard mainline before. Have you?
I think I've heard it enough that I didn't like Google it. What does mainline mean?
I don't know. I've never heard it before. I'm sure it's a thing. It was just new to me. All right, we really have to pick up the pace here. Doesn't it go into
his like how he came from like a wealthy family?
Yeah, like a
because
Czech
it's so shocking
something.
that a black man would know a language that isn't English. I mean, it's like, it's crazy. By the way, everybody, this character dies a few chapters later because he was boning a girl against his will, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
and under false pretenses, which he started to feel bad about because he was having an office romance with another woman, Dana, in the embassy. And Dana's suspicion that he's cheating on her is what leads her to stumble into like a clue of the story.
Whole thing
because
is
she
insanity,
because she searches all of the security cameras in footage in
she
Prague
goes
to prove that he's
Lucius
cheating on
Fox.
her.
Yeah.
And then goes to the hotel to confront them about it.
So then we go back. We're always flipping back and forth to different places. We're back to Penguin Random House. There was a particular sentence here that it was even just the beginning of a sentence that I highlighted as particularly bad prose. So Faulkman realizes Catherine Solomon's book got deleted. He calls Alex Conan, is that the guy's name?
Another paper thin character.
Yeah, with I think a name who's actually the name of a guy Dan Brown knows.
The acknowledgments, yeah.
And so he's trying to figure out this hack. And second page of chapter 11, a sentence begins, wide-eyed, the tech knelt down. And there's just something about it that really stuck with me as clunky and bad.
Oh, that whole chapter
Wide-eyed.
is really bad. It has the thank God I still edit off paper, he thought.
Yeah.
And then, for once, being old school just paid off. But the thing that the chapter ends on is incredible. Alex's hacking skills were robust, as was the case for most techs working in system security. Given a few hours and a little luck, he had a fighting chance of sorting out who had hacked PRH. Then, depending on what he discovered, he might even find a clever way to hack them right back.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, then we're back in Prague. We can't do this to every chapter because
we can't. I'm just trying to get through it because I'm... Oh, yeah. Faulkman, it seemed, had simply turned off his phone and wandered out into the night, perhaps to On the Rocks, a nearby whiskey bar frequented by neurotic editors trying to calm their nerves at all hours of the night. Shut up!
All those editors. You know how I'll hear, like, in L.A., there are, like, actor bars and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
In New York, you know how they have all those editor bars where, like, the editors go and hang out at night and have their whiskey sours?
Well, what if we were wrong and that's a real bar by Penguin Random House that
Okay.
Robert did? I don't know. I didn't Google that. I'm just making
Fucking
a guess,
check it,
so we
Leighton.
could-
Let's
No,
look at it right now. I'm gonna
holding
look
my
right
phone
now.
with two hands. You look right now.
The Rocks, New
Bar.
York City. Oh, there is a bar.
And is it
called
near the
On the
Penguin Random
Rocks.
House?
Let's see. Is
Is
it?
it filled with editors who are neurotic and drinking whiskey?
Hold on. We're gonna look.
While you're searching
Penguin
that,
Random House.
we've introduced the character.
There is an On the Rocks bar that is a 17-minute walk from what comes up as Penguin Random House.
All right, I retract my statement. I take it back.
But that's not close enough to be like the neighborhood editor's bar. So
Dan
On the
Brown
Rocks
is such
a
a fucking
bar in
hack that
Hell's
I'm
Kitchen.
sorry I thought that was fake because...
All right.
Anyway, so...
Google Maps says On the Rocks is a tiny, dimly lit watering hole boasting an extensive selection of whiskeys and bottled beers.
Okay, so whiskey is not...
4.4 out of 448 Google reviews.
Anyway, so we're introduced to like this character who really starts off being evil and continues being evil, and there's no twist on it. At 73 years old, Everett Finch carried a Chessmaster FIDE rating of 2374, rode 9,000 meters daily on his ERG machine, question mark. And Finch, erg,
right?
What's an erg machine? Oh, like an erg.
It's a row, like a rowing machine. Erg is a unit of energy.
Okay, sick. And finished breakfast by popping 300 milligrams of Nuvigil, a nootropic mind enhancement drug that turned his mind into a Formula One race car and a highway of minivans.
That was awesome, yeah.
Having spent the last decade in a position of power within Q's formidable parent organization, hint, hint, Finch had been tapped 3 years ago for a confidential assignment within Q's London office. He was also informed he would be spearheading the development of one of the most ambitious and secretive endeavors ever undertaken by anyone, anywhere. Threshold. The chapter starts with something that's funny. In London, Finch had just received confirmation that his contingency plans were now in motion in both Prague and New York. The news had arrived via a military-grade communication platform known as Signal, required for all field communications.
You know I highlighted that.
As it provided end-to-end encryption of all text and voice.
It's such a weird pull
Yeah.
To use
Also,
Signal,
to call this thing Q, by the way.
yeah, absolutely, to call it Q, which is short for in Q tell, which what? As we learn later. But okay, well, you could have used a fake app there. To use Signal is just weird. Well, why are you calling out fucking Signal? Do you have stock in it or something?
It's another brand name thing, even though most of the brand names are like for really expensive things.
Yeah.
But it's also so bizarre to read that and be like, well, clearly it couldn't have clearly he didn't have presentiment of current events here. But also then he like later name drops Everything Everywhere All at Once in a way that's like so fucking jarring.
Yeah.
Man,
I'm speeding through. I'm in chapter 15 now.
Dana's talking about Michael Harris, the model-esque black man. He treated her politely inside the office, of course. He treated her politely in the office, semicolon. Of course, it was how he treated her outside the office and in his bedroom that she found most appealing.
Oh ho.
Good Lord. She's also described as looking like a model, and I don't have it straight away. Right. They're in the lab. I don't care.
Which chapter are you in right now?
I don't know. I was looking at because there's like 120 chapters in this book, and I'm at chapter 20 of my notes.
Did you? I'm at the Nostradamus. What is it like? A Nostradamus part.
Go for it. Hit it.
This is chapter 16.
Oh, is this 9/11?
Langdon's history students often asked him about Nostradamus, arguably the most famous seer of all time. So I'm not even going to read the rest of this, but
come on.
In college, your history students are asking you about Nostradamus? No, absolutely not. What the fuck?
Did you wander into a middle school?
Slightly later. To illustrate his point, every year Langdon began his freshman seminar by asking each student to submit his or her, what's wrong with there, Dan, precise date and time of birth. A week later, he handed everyone a sealed envelope with their names on it and told them he had given their birth information to a well-known astrologer and asked for readings. When the students opened their envelopes, they invariably gasped in disbelief at how accurate the astrologer's readings had been. Then Langdon told them to swap papers with another student. To their surprise, they learned that all the astrological readings he had distributed were identical. The readings simply felt accurate because they included common personal beliefs.
Why do we do this? Also, do you think everyone is stupid?
Yes, well, this
the
is the
answer
thing.
Yes.
This is a college class at Harvard, one of the world's elite universities. This is 6th grade shit.
Yeah.
No college professor would do this. This is like... You would be laughed out of the university if you tried to pull this shit with college students. It's so dumb.
We're introduced to the character who spends a lot of time pursuing Langdon doggedly, and he's the one who's like the ultimate threat. Pavel, because what's his face gets pushed.
Janacek, yeah.
Janacek gets pushed over a wall and dies.
By the golem, yeah.
By the golem for some reason, by the way. Why?
Why
would that?
He's protecting.
Narratively important. Pavel is like his nephew and took him in. That's all you really need to know. It doesn't matter. But just sometimes these things take you out, such as Pavel took the opportunity to check his own phone for messages, hoping he might have a notification from his new app, Dream Zone, the virtual dating platform that had taken Europe by storm. Pavel had never imagined chatting with computer-generated women would hold his interest, and yet, like so many men, he'd become addicted to the sexy conversation threads, revealing photos and fantasy storylines. 11 notifications. There are like 10 things in that short paragraph that are just, okay, who
Dream
says
zone.
taken anywhere by storm? People don't say that anymore. Chatting with computer, you match with AI girls. Is this real? I want it to not be, because I want it to be because Dan Brown's stupid and not because he saw a news article. Because, by the way, none of this is relevant to the story at all.
I'm sure, I'm sure there's a thing where you...
I'm sure, but just the name Dream Zone
Oh, no, that can't. Okay, there's no way that's real. We're looking at this right now. Excuse me. I am Googling.
I'll also note, addicted to sexy conversation threads, revealing
that's the worst
photos,
part.
and fantasy storylines. Just say that it's sexy or something. I don't know. That's such a bizarre, like, way to phrase all of that.
I think this is real.
That's very sad.
I think it's a dating sim.
Ew. Who makes those? Gross.
There is a. Hold on. I'm. No.
Wait, is it-
Oh, no. It opened the App Store. Oh, God. There is some kind of dating sim called Dream Zone. Yes.
But it's a dating sim?
Yes, I believe that is the case.
Okay, that's really funny to call it a new app that's like a dream.
Yeah.
That it's a dating app.
I think it's
bizarre.
I think it's a dating sim. Someone should.
Here's a real line from this book spoken by a very fit 55-year-old while being kidnapped. That's a cool camera Faulkman managed. Are we making a TikTok?
The guy's funny. He's fucking got it.
There's an AI engine that's a veracity analysis system.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I really want to talk about this conversation with Gessner.
Yes, I was just looking at this.
So Gessner orders Langdon a concoction of Canadian whiskey, cherry bitters, maple syrup, and bacon. Bacon? Langdon would have much preferred his usual Vesper martini with Nollet's Reserve gin. And then she orders...
Also, by the way,
calf.
bacon not that uncommon as like a
This
craft
dude's such a
cocktail thing.
prude.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that weird. The year's
It's not that
2025.
weird.
That might have
It's
been
not
weird
that
in like
weird.
2010, but this is like past the lol random bacon era.
That's right. That's exactly right. And also, you see this kind of shit occasionally. Bacon-infused bourbon, whatever. It's not that
Yeah, because it's
uncommon.
good. It's not gross. It's like you're going to look at a thing that's like, oh, it's a peanut butter and bacon sandwich. Like, what? Disgusting.
Yeah.
Savory and sweet things taste good together. More news at 11. I'm sorry, Dan Brown. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, Gessner is like being a little shit, but isn't wrong.
Yes. Correct.
And did she just call herself legitimate and Catherine delusional? Langdon bristled, but Catherine smiled and gave his leg a playful squeeze under the table.
I was surprised you didn't say Delulu.
Yeah, that's about if we're referencing dating sims and
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, so she brings up I don't care. That basically Gessner is raising some very valid concerns about a noeticist despite having, sponsored this talk that everybody loves so much. Oh, here's another quip that is not a quip. After half of his vile maple and bacon cocktail, his mouth tasted like breakfast. If Gessner's monologue went much longer, he was definitely going to need another round. Perhaps a fried egg martini.
Yeah, thank you. I
Truly
highlighted
just
this as
take
well.
a second.
Terrible
That's
pseudo
not
joke.
a setup. It's not a punchline. There's nothing
Nope.
clever. It's just saying breakfast thing plus cocktail. That's not a bit.
Yep, that's correct. Okay, we have to move.
We
here.
have to pick
we're
up the pace.
50
There's
minutes
just so
in
much
and
fucking bullshit
we're
here.
15% through this book.
Basically the only puzzle in this book is this lady like unsubtly setting up a thing for Langdon to solve. And I hate to break it to everybody, but the solution to this puzzle is pi.
so
It's the digits of pi, and there's an S in the middle.
It's the digits of pi. It's
It's 314.
which she
S.
calls an Arabic tribute to an ancient Greek with a Latin twist.
And punctuates it by dropping her lemon twist to her
Yes, and the
martini.
reason he knows it's 7 digits is because she says you have a 1 in whatever chance of getting it right, and he calculated. I didn't check the math on that. That's it was very easy
And
to
then
check.
Langdon didn't miss a beat. Sounds like a 7-character alphanumeric. Gessner recoiled, wide-eyed, startled to have been so quickly outflanked.
Yes. So he would know.
Lord.
I mean, if it's an alphanumeric, you have 10 digits, 26 letters. It's 36, right? So
Yeah.
the calculation you would do is 30. If there's 7 options, there's 36 to the 7th possibilities. and that's it. That's the calculation. So
yes, and it's also
wait, what's the number? Let's check this right now. What's the
when
number?
we see the like entry for like how you put in this code, it's a screenshot of an iPhone keyboard.
Yes, that's right.
That's the devilish like puzzle setup.
Wait, what does he say? It's a 1 in what chance?
I don't know. I don't care. I'm past this.
No,
we got so
weren't you
much.
just there?
No, I'm past it.
Well, anyway, let's see, what is that? It's 78 trillion ish. It looks
Langdon talks about his lone experience with VR and how unsettling it was.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? There's going to be more VR later.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to move on. Let's move on.
Wait. Hold on. Sorry. Dana eyed him warily and stood up. As a 6-foot-tall former runway model, she was one of the few women who could look Michael Harris in the eye. Everyone's a model.
I highlighted in chapter 27. Langdon's in a lab and he sees a door that reads tech development, which is claimed
I was
to be
going to read that one, but yeah.
Okay. Continuing on, Langdon arrived at what he now realized was the lab's final door. The sign read tech development. This trendy new term, pervasive among youthful tech startups, was one Langdon knew only because Jonas Falkman had once derided it as a, quote, gratuitous amalgamation.
It's again this like making up a dumb thing so a character can say a smart thing about it.
Yep.
Okay, so we introduced the character Sasha, who was Gessner, who is dead. It was her lab assistant. And we get into Sasha's backstory, and this is where this is the moment early on in chapter 32 of like a 120 chapter novel where it was like, right, yep, I see what we're doing here. And
Yeah.
truly, even my I see what we're doing here was smarter than the twist that happens. But we get the backstory. Sasha has epilepsy. And she's having a seizure when Langdon meets her, essentially after she discovers that Gessner's dead. Here's her backstory. Sasha gets put in she gets abandoned by her parents in like a mental institution because of her seizures. Quote, when Sasha was growing up in Russia, other school children mocked her seizures, giving her a lurid nickname. It's Cyrillic, I don't know how to say it.
Who the fuck knows?
Which meant vibrator. Her parents took her to, kids are always throwing that at each other when they're 6. Her parents took her to specialists, but the answers were always the same. There is no cure. Sasha will die with seizures, ... but not of them. But I want to die, Sasha often thought. So it's like talking about how horrible it is, and her only escape was thinking, one day I will see America. She gets assigned a nighttime attendant who... a pitiless nurse who amused herself in the desolate hours by withholding Sasha's seizure medications and then watching her spasmodic episodes like a circus sideshow before beating her. For weeks, Malvina abused Sasha physically, mentally, and perhaps in other ways, which also just say sexually, Dan. Like, we don't have to...
I mean, yes, I had exactly the same
And perhaps
reaction.
in other ways that Sasha's mind blocked. One morning, after barely surviving one of Malvina's...
My comment on that exact sentence was, what are we doing here?
And perhaps in other ways that Sasha's mind blocked. Interesting that we would bring up mind blocking. One of the more brutal and traumatic attacks, Sasha was crying in bed when 3 staff members burst in and dragged her down the hall to the common room. So the abuser's lifeless body, her head twisted almost entirely backward. So, like, I don't know, someone slipped in and murdered this lady who was abusing her. And then in a thing that we've never before seen in any of the villains or heroes of any of our Dan Brown stories, someone shows up to adopt her and save her by bringing her into a life of science. And that person is Brigitte Gessner, who takes her under her wing, takes her back to cure her epilepsy with her groundbreaking new treatment. So upon reading that, I was like, all right, okay, so the only time that Dan Brown ever gives a character a backstory in which they are horrifically abused,
Yep.
they're the killer, they're the secretly evil one, they're the
And
murderer.
also the, top scientist or whatever in this field is like, who I want as my lab assistant? This random Russian epileptic.
Yep.
Makes sense.
And
Sure.
one of 2 Russian epileptics who were at the same facility that were experimented on. God.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Yep.
Let's see. I like Falkman's kidnapped. He's in a van. He hears a mechanical sound and he thinks, his first thought is, am I on a military base? Okay. Completely random. Let's see, what else do we have here?
Catherine laughed. If you think religious zealots are irrationally tied to their worldviews, you should meet the tenured academics of higher education.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'm a
Yes.
tenured academic of higher education, and you've always been a skeptic, Robert. Old-fashioned, but cute. Old-fashioned? Langdon cocked his head. I'm younger than you are, ... Hate to remind you. Careful, she said, flashing a devastating smile. You took my undergrad seminar twice, lover boy, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't my slideshow you were staring at. Langdon laughed out loud. Guilty as charged. Cliche. Also not cute of either of them. Cliche. Sorry, not cute of Robert.
Speaking of Catherine, at some point, I'm in chapter 36, she says, here's a quote. She's talking about how she's right and everybody else is wrong. 30 years ago, Catherine complained, physicists proved that communication between two entangled particles is instantaneous, and yet we're still teaching Einstein's mantra that nothing travels faster than the speed of light. Okay, this is literally, when you talk about entangled particles, which is a real thing, the first fucking thing you learn is that it does not violate that information cannot travel faster than the speed of light. So there's a famous experiment. They take two entangled particles, which can be in one of two states, let's say up and down, which is what it is. And then you separate them by a big distance. And there's a crazy experiment you can do where you like measure one of the particle, one person over here and another person over there measures the states of all the particles, and they have to be aligned. And despite the fact that they're very, very far away, somehow they're like in lockstep with each other. It is known that you cannot transmit information that way. End of story. Everybody knows this. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of very, very basic quantum physics. It's weird that that this happens, but because the first time you do this experiment, you're like, oh my God, wait, I thought nothing could travel. Information can't travel faster than the speed of light. Nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. Yes, that's correct. This does not violate causality. It's insanity that this is presented as, and we're still saying nothing can travel faster than the speed of light. People know this. People absolutely know this. This is a basic science fact. And if you knew anything about relativity and quantum mechanics, you would know that this is not a violation of that law. It's insane. I leapt out of my chair when I read this because it is about as fundamentally wrong as you could possibly get.
And if it wasn't enough to keep going back to the well of this talk that she gives, then we get into when she pitched it to Falkman and to Langdon in this meeting that only he got for her, by the way. Robert Langdon had called to ask if Falkman would be willing to have lunch with his brilliant friend Catherine Solomon and listen to her stunning book proposal. Like, he's like shocked that she's, quote, holding her own. And then they do the goldfish thing that is...
Do you want to talk about the goldfish thing? It's so dumb.
She's like, I'm going to show you this. All of this might sound impossible, but I'm going to show something that we can all agree is impossible. And she shows like footage on an iPad of two goldfish are next to each other. They're two live video feeds. The feeds are from two separate stationary cameras in my lab in California. In one bowl, there's a little figure and it says yes. The other one says no. And then the fish start swimming in circles and they're perfectly synced. And they're like, wow, that's impossible. How are the fish doing that? And it's I'm not even going to read all the, it's just, it's from two different angles. It's a sculpture that says yes and no at different angles. And neither of them thought of this while Well, we're saying that it's impossible for these two fish.
I know. It's the dumb. It's like, yeah, different. It's fucking stupid. Okay. I like the line, "What did you expect, Jonas? She's a noeticist from California."
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Well, 5 hours left in book at this point. We have to fucking.
I'm not even at the halfway mark in my.
Let's see what else.
I've never had a near-death experience. ... I have no idea what I would think. Langdon's only encounter with near-death experiences had been in the pages of blah blah blah. We've read. There have been 5 books about all your near-death experiences. You usually have
yes.
like 10 of them a book. You prominently had one. One of the only things we know about you is as a kid, you had a near-death experience and were dubbed the little swimmer that could because you survived in a well or whatever.
Here's a bad paragraph. Ambassador Heidi Nagel, probably. Ambassador Heidi Nagel was a 66-year-old graduate of Columbia Law. The child of German immigrants, she had come to America at the age of 4 and risen to the top of her field. Her German surname, it had been noted publicly, literally meant nails, as in, as tough as.
Ugh.
Yeah. All right, let's hit some big points here.
There's a thing that sums up the book, and she's saying this like she's a real villain. At the end of the drinks, because I forgot that we don't even get the drink interlude with Gessner over one scene. And this is like sparse. It's spaced out.
Right.
It is clear, Gessner said, sounding irked, that symbologists and noeticists are a perfect match for one another. Mm-hmm. She took a sip of her drink. You both see meaning where there is none.
Yeah.
Mic drop, bookends there.
You don't exist either. Yeah.
Chapter 41, top of... Sasha likes American movies.
Yeah, she does. She likes rom-coms.
He's in her apartment. The film title was in Russian, but Langdon recognized Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal standing face to face against the New York skyline. He'd never seen the classic When Harry Met Sally, but he'd heard about the famous quote-unquote sex scene in a New York deli.
Yeah.
Why are we flexing that you haven't seen this movie? Why even bother bringing it up?
Yeah.
Second, sex scene, like, is that a bit? Third of all, it's Katz's Deli. Put a little respect on it. If you're going to name drop a stupid bar by Penguin Random House, you can say Katz. Yeah. Well, that's what got me. If you're going to say Katz later, you know it exists. At least say, like, you know this movie. You haven't seen it, but you know it because the Katz's Deli, that's Katz's Deli's thing.
Yeah.
I love every single time in these books where Robert looks in the mirror multiple times a book and is like, you look like hell, Robert.
I like every time they mention his eidetic memory, which is a thing I don't remember from previous books.
He has it in there, but yeah.
Okay, I didn't remember it. And it's, by the way, it is taken as fact that is evidence of non-local consciousness because the brain can't store all that information. End of story. Fact. Mic drop. Untrue.
Did you notice that Sasha has 2 cats and they're Siamese cats? Mm-hmm. If I didn't already have feelings after her backstory and it's like, here are her 2 cats that are Siamese. By the way,
Sally.
Did you notice that one of the R's on the cover is backwards in case you didn't already know what the fucking obvious plot twist 600 pages from now is going to be?
Yeah. Great line, which I really liked in chapter 44. Holy shit, I'm in Jersey. Shout out to Teterboro Airport, which is a real thing. You gotta love Teterboro. There's something about one of the CAA guys who kidnaps Falkman being named Chinberg that really threw me off. That was my
favorite fake name. The other one's Augur.
Yeah, Chinberg and Augur. Terrible. Let's see what else. I'm whipping through this right now.
Yeah.
There's so much bad. Let's go to a big event because we could carp on.
I know, but I don't want to miss any of the.
Yeah. I'll edit out pauses.
The Golem kills Michael Harris, who he strangles for leading Sasha on.
Yes, that's right. Catherine declares that synchronized flocks of birds are evidence of non-local consciousness, which is insane. Here's a Catherine line. Today, A growing number of quantum physicists are echoing a belief in the interconnectivity of all things and all people. No, they're not.
Catherine smiled, eyes sparkling with excitement. Gentlemen, the results of these experiments will not only remind us that we're all connected, they will light the way towards an entirely new understanding of our reality and human potential.
Yep.
No, it's not. I mean, this entire, as it sounds repetitive as we're saying all this, boy, does it feel repetitive to constantly be told it's changing the paradigm, the non-local consciousness, the blah, 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 blah. We haven't even got, like, nothing has happened yet. There's been, like...
No. Oh, okay.
There have been multiple murders and nothing has happened.
Yep, so they're on the run. Pavel's chasing him, and Langdon runs into a fucking mirror maze. Which is, again, the most cliched shit of all time. Like... And
then Pavel shoots at Langdon dead to rights, and actually he was in a mirror, so he shot in a mirror.
Who would have fucking thought? Yeah, incredible. So then
MetLife Stadium, shout out.
Yep, absolutely.
Rutherford,
you know it.
New Jersey.
There's a big old fucking book. Okay, let's go to this next classroom scene because it's really good.
Oh yeah, this is a highlight for me, honestly.
Okay, so he's talking about, let's see. Where are we?
Also, by the way, when Langdon is info dumping about this, if you go to the Wikipedia page for the Codex Gigas, is that it?
I guess.
The sequence of information is laid out exactly on the Wikipedia page as it is in this paragraph, where Langdon is Wikipedia-ly info dumping to her, which I don't know, I just thought was interesting.
Yeah. Only a month earlier, in a course offering called Illuminations, the Art of Medieval Manuscripts, he had shown several slides of the Codex. This is the big book, beginning with the manuscript's most famous page. Here we have Folio 290, he said, displaying the bizarre illustration of a horned devil squatting awkwardly, entirely naked, except for a white loincloth wrapped around his private parts.
Why is Dan Brown such a prude?
Yeah, it's incredible. And it is the page from which this book derived its oldest nickname. The Diaper Devil? Chimed in one of Harvard's lacrosse stars, eliciting laughter from his classmates. Nice try, Bruiser, Langdon said patiently. It's called the Devil's Bible. Bruiser really got me.
That's crazy. Which also, Langdon's a jock.
Yes.
He's a jock. He's like a swimming and polo star. You can't...
Look at this lacrosse dummy trying to make a joke.
By the way, this bit about... It's called the Devil's Bible. This image portrays Satan wearing a loincloth made of ermine, a symbol of royalty. Again, the exact same cadence and sequence of information that you see in the Wikipedia page, based on from when he initially started talking about it.
Amazing.
Nuts, Dan Brown. Wait, so the image presents Satan as a king, a young woman commented, in the pages of a Bible?
Bingo. Thank you for noticing. Langdon
Will
said.
Satan help with my midterms? Chirped lacrosse guy. Oh, and then they talk about a mirror.
The fact that he calls him lacrosse guy is awful.
Okay, dolphin guy. Everyone knows who's the fucking dolphin. You. From the kid's blank stare, Langdon gathered he didn't know the term. Immurement? Anyone? He scanned the room. No. Modern justice systems don't use immurement as punishment anymore because it's too cruel. It derives from the Latin immurus, which means ... Langdon waited. Anyone? Bueller?
Now, Bueller, notice, he doesn't say it.
No.
It's not part of the words he said. It is just a description, a textual description. So it's even worse because you could maybe excuse it a little bit more if it was something he said as a dumb professor joke. Instead, Dan Brown writes it to describe what's going on. Fucking nuts.
In the wall, someone offered. Correct. Immurement literally means to be sealed alive inside a wall. Gross, someone said. Like in the cask of Amontillado. Exactly. Langdon nodded, pleased to know Harvard students were still reading Edgar Allan Poe. Excuse me while I move away from the mic for this one. A thing you read in 6th grade!
Yeah. Yep. That's
for Christ's sake. Are you kidding?
Also, the most famous Poe story.
Oh my God. I hate this man so much. I hate the fictional one. I hate the real one. Just stop.
Oh, okay. So this drove me nuts too later on in this scene. This is Langdon talking. History contains many inexplicable anomalies, and this is one of them. That's why I'm a physics major, chimed in a quiet student in the front row. Sorry to burst your bubble, Langdon said with a chuckle, but science doesn't do much better on anomalies. Perhaps you could explain for us the double slit experiment, which you can, or the horizon problem, or Schrodinger's I retract, the kid surrendered good-naturedly. This is anti-science bullshit. Science does do much better on anomalies. It confronts them, it tries to figure them out, some it can't. But by the way, the double slit experiment, there's nothing controversial or weird about that. It is just a basic part of quantum mechanics. It's like, yeah, you can explain that. It's actually not hard. It may be confusing at first, but don't present that as if it's like, nobody gets it. People get it.
I like this bit about the ossuary, that's the bone chapel, that's cool.
Yeah, I got one of them actually out back here.
Nice.
Don't tell Rachel.
But he's telling his students to go check it out. Utterly repulsive, someone muttered. Memento mori, Langdon said. Remember, death is coming, and live well.
Yep.
What do we do? I mean, like, your lecture at Harvard, like, this is a fucking joke. You're doing a Bueller bit. You're calling a lacrosse star bruiser as a polo star.
Students. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, reading this, I kept having the feeling that I was reading some like middle schoolers breathless like short story that they submitted that they wrote in lead pencil to their teacher and that they got a D on.
Yeah. Next chapter where Catherine and Langdon are talking, it's like a flashback or something. They're talking to Falkman.
Again, this is a flashback to the same lunch. We're still doing flashbacks to her talk, but we're also doing flashbacks to the lunch, which contains essentially the same information.
Yeah. Catherine's talking. In simple English, our brains interact with an existing matrix of awareness. That was simple English? Falkman looked bemused. Yes. Those are all standard simple English words, that is.
There are
Count your
multiple, like,
blessings.
speak English moments in this.
Count your blessings, Langdon said. She could ruin lunch by trying to explain the triadic dimensional vorticel paradigm. I'm sure that's not a thing. Seriously, Robert, she chided, a man of your intellectual capacity should be able to grasp a nine-dimensional quantized volumetric reality embedded in infinite continuity. There's actually just a total misuse of a word there. She would say continuum, not continuity.
Nice.
He's just stringing fucking jargon words together.
He does it again with like extremely long GABA drugs.
Oh my god, the fucking GABA thing.
Yo, GABA.
Oh, he does something on the next page here that really drives me nuts again. I don't disagree, Langdon said to Falkman, but in fairness, many scientific discoveries were initially deemed absurd or impossible. Heliocentricity, the spherical Earth, radioactivity, the expanding universe, germ theory, epigenetics, and countless others. Historically speaking, important truths often begin their lives as total impossibilities. Blah, 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 blah. Again, a stupid fucking argument that... Like, I mean, a known logical fallacy, which is, well, they yelled at, they killed Galileo, not killed, but they, yelled at Galileo too. Fuck you. Just because a famous smart guy was running counter to the forces that were at the time doesn't mean that your iconoclastic bullshit is real.
I hate her thing about muscle memory.
Yes.
Well, actually, muscles don't have memory. Girl, shut the fuck up.
Everybody knows that. Yeah. Don't present this like it's a gotcha. No one's saying they do.
I genuinely believe that my muscles have memories within them. That's what people are saying every time they say that they have muscle memory. Yeah. And then she goes into this whole thing that's like... Actually, autism and Asperger's and dissociative identity disorder and schizophrenia and multiple personalities can all be explained by non-local consciousness. And reading that, I was like, oh, okay. So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
This is tough here, and I can't wait in 500 pages when you finally get around to letting us in on the little thing that we've been hinting at. But it's great. If you think that's a good tactful handling of the explanation for mental illness, listener, Just you wait.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, we'll never get to at this rate.
I'm skipping way ahead. I'm in chapter 60.
Halo.
Yep,
Read the
it's
bit.
Halo. There it is. That's
Okay.
exactly where I am. As he passed the hotel, Langdon's gait slowed suddenly, his eyes drawn to an advertising kiosk in a tiny park. The poster depicted a futuristic army of soldiers marching across a desolate planet. Above the armed warriors hung a single word, whose appearance at this instant felt jarringly coincidental. Halo. Is the universe taunting me? This ominous poster, of course, was not referencing a radiant symbol of the enlightened mind, but rather a hugely popular computer game series, which, according to Langdon's students, had cleverly appropriated the cultural resonance of Christianity by incorporating biblical terms like the covenant, the ark, the prophets, and the flood, along with a tapestry of erudite religious references.
Erudite!
I mean, okay. Can we just talk about the term computer game? Nobody says this.
It's the year
anymore.
2025, and we're talking about AI chatbots, dating sims, and
computer game.
By the way, everyone,
Computer game.
Elon Musk gets name drop in this.
Yes.
So
anyone who
I'm
knew
a computer
anything
gamer.
about anything would say video game. This is
also,
the
I think he
dumbest
later
shit imaginable.
says that, like, you know, Catherine got into shit because she was talking to a conference of video gamers or some such.
Yeah, there was something like
Oh
that.
fuck, we have to go like way further ahead at this rate. But I do have to point out,
skip to a big
I have
thing.
to say, I'm surprised such a smart guy would use a single password, especially one as weak as Dolphin123. Langdon's password is Dolphin123.
I literally skipped right to that. Yeah.
Fogman hung his head. Why do we even have security protocols? And then we have to explain it. Langdon's nickname at Harvard was the Dolphin because he could still outswim half the varsity water polo team. Unfortunately, Langdon was also a self-proclaimed Luddite, a classicist whose expertise in the ancient past made for a reluctant relationship with the future. He still has a Rolodex and wears a Mickey Mouse watch, for God's sake.
He has a Rolodex? Have we mentioned this before?
No, but what a loser.
That sucks.
By the way, Catherine's been missing for everything that we've just talked about, which is why the only exposure we get to her is through the pitch and the speech. And then he finds her and she's actually, like, I don't know, in an alcove in a historical library.
And he ends up burning her manuscript to save her. And we're not going to get into why because we don't have time.
Which is a moment where it's like, okay, if all the other little disrespects and like, wow, I'm surprised she's holding herself so well and interrupting your talk, that would be the last fucking straw.
Yeah.
Plot twist later, he didn't actually burn it. He like only burned the bibliography and then hid it and then somehow went back to get it to give to her.
Was obvious that was going to happen. Obvious. We're not, Dan Brown's not going to let this.
Of course, we didn't destroy all the manuscripts.
Okay, now there's more Bem in chapter 72. She's just name dropping thoroughly bullshit studies, Gansfeld, Bem, other ones. It's nonsense.
Oh, there's this in chapter 72 is where she talks about how repeatability is there's too much put on it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is dumb. Fair point, but that's sports. This is science. Repeatability is a key part of the scientific process. Yes. And I agree, this is Catherine now, that repeatability is a reasonable burden of proof at the macroscopic level. But at the quantum level, things work differently, Robert. The quantum world is understood to be unpredictable. In fact, unpredictability is quite literally its most agreed upon trait. Another fair point, he realized. Again, this is a fundamental fucking misunderstanding of quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics is probabilistic, but that doesn't mean that experiments in it are not repeatable. This is a completely different thing. Saying that you don't know the specific state a particle is going to be in because it's probabilistic is very different than saying the experiment isn't repeatable, because that's not what you'd measure. Right. The question wouldn't be which state is the particle in. Oh, it was in state A, not state C. Okay, then it's in state C, not state A. That's not repeatable. Fuck no. That's not the experiment you're doing. Right. It is conflating two completely different things, and it's fucking stupid to call the probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics an assault on repeatability. It's just not true.
Did you do the
And by the way,
listing all the things?
pretty much
that...
there are a million quantum mechanics experiments that are thoroughly repeatable and are well established. That's what science is. So don't come at me with this like, oh, it's quantum mechanics, so it's not repeatable shit. Of course, it's fucking repeatable. That's why we have results. It's dumb.
Yeah. Would you like to show us the many papers that the Ions has written on noetic science and channeling and mediums and non-human intelligence, and tell me a little bit about, because she also says, yes, along with the argument that repeatability is a burden of proof is an unreasonably high bar when studying consciousness, it's doing damage to the field and destroying careers.
Yeah. Now look, there may be some fields in which, and psychology certainly suffers from this. Psychology studies are famously hard to replicate. That's an interesting question, I think, at its heart.
But in any other context, this discussion would be like forgivable, but in the context of justifying all the pseudoscience that he's talking
that's
about
right.
here,
That's exactly right.
It's just like, I hate you so much.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Langdon sat back on his plush limousine seat, absorbing the provocative idea. You're suggesting there's a reality around us, that we can't perceive? That's exactly what I'm suggesting, Robert. Her eyes flashed with excitement. But that's not even the half of it. You mean like pink horny worms that are floating around because of the pineal gland? Honestly,
yes,
From Beyond
yes.
has a better grasp on this shit than this book does.
I definitely at one point was thinking about From Beyond. I also at some point, and I was pretty sure he wasn't going to do this. I was like, are they going to discover their characters in a book? And the non-local reality is the fact that they exist in literature or something. Like, there's sort of an element of that going on. And I don't know, Robert Langdon jumps out of the book into the real world. It wasn't going to happen.
Yeah,
that's not the way. He's
dumb.
not meta enough, but I thought maybe.
Okay, so to summarize a lot of the plot, they're running around. Pavel's coming after them. The Golem's close behind. They discover that the thing that there's a secret underground lair owned.
By the Threshold one or the Gessner one.
The Threshold, because there are two different underground layers that are like
they
connected
lead to each other. Yeah,
don't really make sense. So there's Gessner's, and then there's the Threshold, which I'll say it now, the CIA has built, and this is the reason they're destroying all the manuscripts, because clearly something in the manuscripts indicates that the CIA is doing top secret research in there that Catherine's book would ruin. So they go, Langdon and I almost called her Victoria. Dan Brown, you're so varied. Catherine, to go check it out, and basically they discover that, like, yes, the CIA has been doing experiments with using like Gessner's research or whatever to do like the ultimate surveillance chip implantation, like remote viewing. There's a lot of shit talking about how remote viewing actually works.
Oh, and the Stargate experiment is a real thing that showed real results. And it
never stopped.
Yeah.
And so like this whole book, we've been getting teased about like, what's the secret in the manuscript that they're so desperately trying to suppress. And the secret is that when 20 years ago, she, her professor, for her thesis, encouraged her to submit a patent for this idea that she had for like interfacing the brain with technology. And it was declined under suspicious circumstances, but she included the entire thing in her manuscript. And turns out the CIA just used that to develop their thing. And that's what they're doing in that lab. And that's why they're trying to have people killed and also destroy all the manuscripts.
Yep. I think we need to talk about the twist now.
We do need to talk about the twist.
Let's jump to the twist here.
So Sasha has kind of disappeared for a lot of this book, right? We don't know where she is.
There's a brief flash to her where she's like in some dark void and she doesn't know where she is.
So we've established that she has seizures. We've established that the Golem is obsessed with her and with protecting her and protected her at the Russian mental institution where they met. And also the Golem, before this is revealed, the CIA guy like shows up to try to kill Catherine and Robert. And oh, by the way, the Golem is trying to blow up this underground facility because that's where they hurt Sasha, because Sasha was clearly being used to develop this technology and she has the mesh in her brain.
Yeah.
The
This
golem
technology,
like
by the way,
kills.
is a death machine. There's a death machine here where
Right, it holds
which,
you in a state of like nearly dying, so that they can study like
and they
what
have the
happens after
technology to
death.
strange daze you and record everything your brain sees, which is
Yeah,
well, he said that, and I was like, that's a Strange Days ripoff. And then he does the bullshit move of calling out Strange Days, and I was like, all right,
yeah.
like that doesn't make it better.
Yeah, so the golem like rises out of the floor while in the process of trying to blow up this underground lair to kill the CIA guy and be like, you guys gotta get out of here. And the whole time they're like being stalked by the CIA guy through this lab, and they're like, it's a good thing there's nobody else here. And as they're being informed that it's getting blown up, they like run into 3 random office workers who for some reason were down there, and like follow them out, and the place blows up, and we all think that the golem died. Actually, no, he didn't. There's some stupid shit with like CIA still being after them, and like the embassy and the ambassador.
So they get out, and then it goes on forever after they escape. What should have happened is they get out with some kind of paper that, right? I think they have it. I can't even remember. And the book should have ended within 20 pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, it goes on for like 100 more pages. And it is interminable. But, okay.
Yeah,
so
bad.
the golem is down there, blows the place up, kills Finch, says he's going to, I'm not worried about dying. I've died a lot. Okay, great. And then gets out by the skin of his teeth and goes back to his lair. Right?
He's taking everything off. He's like, I'm going to die for the last time, and is like, it's the taking off of the clay. And then at the same time, because the lab blew up, Robert and, again, almost called her Victoria, Robert and Catherine are like, we need to go find Sasha because she's the only piece of living evidence that we have of the experiments that they were doing with the mind.
Stuff in her brain, yeah.
So they go to her apartment to try to find her, and they discover a second secret apartment on top of it. And they find a room bathed in violet light, and was the golem living up here? And then Robert finds a skull cap that has a long blonde hair in it. And guess what, everybody? The golem and Sasha are the same person, except Sasha has dissociative identity disorder.
Yep. And okay, the golem emerged when she was getting abused and took over and killed the mean nurse. And now the golem shows up to protect her where necessary. The golem killed Harris, which means she did.
Yeah. Killed Gessner, which means she did.
Which means she did. Although she's in costume with the clay thing on her face.
Chekovich, whatever the fuck.
Janacek. Yep. So we discover the big twist is that Sasha and the golem are the same person. They're just 2 identities in the same body.
To which I ask, so what? Who cares? Why? Yeah. See, because I thought the thing that it was going towards was like, okay, so they're the same person, but I didn't even think of dissociative identity disorder because I was like, that's so bullshit and such a hack.
Yeah,
and
I didn't either.
Not to mention problematic thing. I was like, oh, the CIA is using the mesh to control Sasha already.
That's exactly
which,
what
by
I
the
thought.
way, there's all of this shit about controlling people in surveillance, and we supposedly have the technology available in this book, and nobody uses it. Yeah, come on, right. It's a Dan Brown book. You should have had like a Manchurian Candidate like fucking going off.
That is 100% what I thought. I didn't think quite that. I thought, oh, it's the tech that is causing, they're doing something. They're flipping a switch or something as part of their experiment. They are like pointing her consciousness in different directions to bring out these different personalities. And something went wrong, and one is taking over. That
it just sucks. It sucks. I was scrolling through again, and I
Sure.
found this bit that was really funny
Yeah.
to me. Sorry to go away from this, but a new generation of thrill seekers now donned consumer VR goggles and spent hours spent hours smoking cannabis while floating virtually through space,
Hell yeah.
snorting cocaine while riding a virtual roller coaster, or quote unquote edging on various time dilation sex drugs while watching VR porn. To no avail, countless warnings had been issued because the experiences were intensely addictive. People don't want to hear how dangerous it is. Last year, Catherine had been booed when she spoke to an audience of tech-savvy gaming enthusiasts and explained that prolonged exposure to hyper-realistic first-person shooter games had been shown not only to shape people's sensitivity to the graphic subject matter, but to rewire the brain's structure, muting normal empathic triggers. The boos grew louder when she informed them of new brain studies showing that voracious consumption of online pornography was physically altering young minds, essentially growing a callus on the human libido and desensitizing them to real sex, like the kind that Dan Brown writes about, which is normal and good. Anyway, I love smoking cannabis and rewiring my brain by playing Fallout New Vegas on my Steam Deck in bed while whacked on the wacky tobacco. Anyway,
and edging so hard.
and edging. It's like, dude, you can't keep referencing like 2025 and the present day and then like not call that gooning.
Yes, correct. I noticed that as well. Absolutely. Yep.
Get with the times, old man. Anyway, so yeah, Sasha and the Golem being the same person. The denouement, which is like 100 pages of them dealing with the cultural attaché and whatever the fuck is
my
them
God,
trying
it's
to
the
figure
most
out
boring
what
thing
to do with
imaginable.
Sasha, considering she killed a couple of people. And then
Which
nobly
no reader really cares about because we don't care
No.
about her as a character at all.
action already
So
happened.
it
We didn't spend any
doesn't
time with
matter.
her other than the
Yeah.
Golem bits. It literally does not matter. None of it matters at all. Have any, like, Catherine and Robert get saved the last minute by the Golem showing up. He only got chased in the first place because of the whole Pavel and the Golem pushing the, like, neither Catherine or Robert do anything. Their manuscript was already written. Neither of them do anything. The entire book. It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
We're going on a walking tour of Prague and being told why gooning is bad.
Yeah.
Gooning is bad and pseudoscience is good, actually.
There's
You heard it here first, folks.
a couple more quote unquote puzzles that show up that I do want to discuss one of them. So Robert has been out of communication. He sends a message to the editor, which is ROT13 and then a string of letters. And it is the dumbest, easiest to break code imaginable because ROT13 is it's like the easiest ciphertext. You shift all the alphabets up by 13 letters, all the letters in the alphabet. Like the most basic code imaginable. And he puts it right there. And then when you decipher the next part, it says RL and KS RGUD, which means are good. And that's supposed to be a funny little joke because Robert Langdon would never abbreviate GOOD by GUD.
Yeah, and then there's the one that's earlier on where Catherine's trying to get him to come find her in the bookcase that she's been in all morning, which, by the way, like all of this takes place over 24 hours, not even. That by like using an app on her phone, and he's like thinking about the code, and the entire time I'm reading him thinking about how the code makes no sense. I'm like, reverse it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's backwards.
It's
Reverse it.
clearly it was
It's like the first thing you do. I'm not even a puzzle person, and I'm there. You go.
No, it was a dumb code, and reversed it spells Codex XL,
Whoa!
which is like, and you look at it, and immediately the first thing you see is, oh, that's Codex backwards, like immediately, obvious, it's like terrible. The puzzles in this sucked. Why encrypt the message? The ROT13 one. There's no that is so
There's
easy to break
no
that you
reason to do
shouldn't
that.
encrypt it. Just say RL and KS are good. Also, why and? You don't need and there. And is doing
really don't.
no work. RL, KS are good.
Falkman is talking to Robert kind of after the fact in this just really drawn out denouement. Falkman chuckled. That response was a bit too quick, even for you, Robert. How do I know
it's
this
when they're
isn't
doing their alliteration thing.
Yeah, sorry, I should say,
Read that.
Glad to hear it, even if I don't believe it, Faulkman said. I've witnessed your proclivity for proximity to peril, and your predilection for paranoid presumptions. Anyway, how do I know this isn't some AI chatbot? Because AI would never know you declined one of the best-selling novels of the past 20 years because you thought the author used too many ellipses. The Curb Your Enthusiasm theme immediately started playing in my head. Okay, so at this point, we're like so far into the book should already be over that I was begging for the typical Dan Brown, Robert Langdon sex joke to end on. I was like, please, God, please, I don't care how bad it is. Just release me from this. Instead, we get multiple of them and then still...
Do we get it, Leighton?
Oh, are they sexy? I like... There's once again my age. You're older than I am.
Yep. I like at one point they see an ice skater who's taking selfies and Langley goes, huh, Instagram skater. Which I really
like Instagram honeymoon, which was dropped earlier.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, I like this too. That could be true, she said, taking a sip of her tea. But first of all, it's not just young people doing it. And second, I think you have to consider that the online world is a real world. Langdon, a real world where love is expressed with emoticons and measured in quote-unquote likes.
This guy sucks. I think before this... It's official, Catherine thought as she finished her preparations and got out of the tub. I'm in love.
I love this.
She suspected maybe she'd loved Langdon all along, and finally their timing was right. It didn't matter. Either way, they were here now, together. Savor these moments. After drying off, she reached beneath the sink and pulled out the handsomely wrapped package that she had hidden there earlier. Mm-hmm. It contained the most elegant piece of lingerie Catherine had ever purchased. Simone Perel macchiato silk. She hoped Robert liked the sophisticated one piece from their dream collection. After letting her hair down, Catherine dropped her towel and slipped into the near weightless lingerie. The silk felt luxurious against her warm skin, falling perfectly over her body.
I was shocked he didn't mention breasts here. Shocked.
I know.
Shocked.
And how they're small, probably.
Yeah.
Forgoing her usual ballade sauvage, she pulled out a tiny spritzer sampler of, and this took me out, Mojave Ghost that had come with the lingerie. Mojave Ghost is like a TikTok girly perfume. Byredo is like a brand that does a variety of other... It's like if you go on TikTok or look for TikTok perfumes, you're going to see Mojave Ghost. So it's crazy that this one's getting name dropped. Like, who told Dan Brown about this? She sprayed a cloud of mist into the air and walked through it, her senses aroused by the notes of chantilly musk and powdery violet. After checking herself one last time in the mirror, she opened the door to the bedroom, pleased to see that Langdon had already turned off the lights. Perfect, she thought, knowing her sheer lingerie was now backlit, leaving her lithe silhouette on full display. Smiling coyly, she struck a seductive pose in the doorframe, awaiting Langdon's reaction. But the only response she heard was the soft, rhythmic cadence of his gentle snoring.
Now...
And then it keeps going. For a moment, I was like, is that the end? Nope.
Yeah. That would have been a fine end. I don't know. I think we've talked about this on the show. The whole concept of like, I'm going to go put on a piece of lingerie for my man.
My one piece lingerie. It's like, no, look, if we're doing one piece, that's coming off immediately. Like at least with some of the other ones.
It's like all of that. Like it just feels like such an old guy thing to be like. Yeah. And then she put on a teddy and walked out into the boudoir.
And then she shaved her legs.
Yeah, it's like, come on, what are you doing?
Here's another really good one. So Faulkman shows up to the city's busiest Starbucks. With apologies to Robert, he mused as he placed his order. The Harvard professor had long boycotted Starbucks for what he proclaimed to be their egregious misuse of a classical symbol.
This drove me insane, yes.
Faulkman chuckled as he eyed the familiar logo emblazoned on every coffee cup in the establishment. And then there's the Starbucks logo. The Starbucks mermaid, Langdon had railed, has 2 tails. That means she's not a mermaid at all, but rather a siren, an evil seductress who lures sailors to follow her blindly through shipwreck and ultimately toward death. I can't trust a corporation that neglected to conduct any iconographic research before adorning frappuccinos with a deadly sea monster. Now,
said the man who can't use the phrase begs the question correctly.
This isn't even the shit that gets me, which is also like a 2009 listicle about like, I bet you didn't know this about the Starbucks logo.
Yeah.
Leave it to a symbologist to ruin a good cup of coffee, Faulkman thought, feeling no guilt as he took his first heavenly sip of the creamiest flat white in the city.
At that little place called Starbucks.
It's like you get an authentic New York slice at Sbarro's, dude. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And that's
so-called because of the good times he has there.
Oh my God. And it keeps going. Even
let's
flipping through it now, I'm literally just trying to flip to the fucking end and it's still going.
I'm in the epilogue. Okay. So they're like back in bed together, only now they're in
Hold on, wait. Oh fuck. Yeah, you're at the Bolero bit, right?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. Because there's more.
Yeah, there's a lot more, but we gotta just
okay. But we should have ended on the Bolero thing. But I want to say, the Langdon, she hasn't come up with a title for her book yet. I asked only because you said something in Prague that's been bouncing around in my mind. I think you might have landed on the perfect title. Oh, you told me that if science can prove there is indeed something beyond death, then we should be shouting that message from the mountaintops. You called it the secret of all secrets, and you claimed it would have enormous impact on the future of humanity. I remember. Langdon waited. Catherine seemed to be waiting too. Don't you hear it? He asked. The secret of secrets. If you think about it, the question to the core of the book, what happens when we die, is the mystery that all human minds have pondered. It is truly the secret of secrets. As a book title? Catherine looked skeptical. I don't know. It sounds ... like a bestseller. Langdon prompted. I was going to say over the top. He laughed. Well, my precognitive instinct is that the Penguin Random House lobby will soon be making space on its shelves for one more classic. Anyway, hit the epilogue, top of the epilogue. The shit fucking sucks, man. And it started raining at just the right time too. Damn,
Robert
it's coming
Langdon.
down.
Okay, epilogue.
I hope my roof leaks and know that it's Dan Brown's fault. Yeah, it is.
Oh, yeah, I heard it was supposed to. Okay, this is unusual this time of year, folks. Robert Langdon awoke to the sound of military drumming, a lone rhythmic snare playing a battle cadence as if leading a small army. When he opened his eyes, he was looking out over the wintry expanse of a wooded park. In the distance, dawn's first light was breaking, filtering through a maze of skyscrapers. Manhattan, he remembered as his mind slowly sharpened. Manhattan Oriental Hotel, 52nd floor. The drumming continued. It seemed close. Langdon sat up in bed, now seeing that Catherine was awake beside him, propped up on her elbow, smiling playfully, her hair tousled and loose. She was tinkering with her new phone, which Langdon now realized was the source of the drumming. I got tired of Grieg's morning mood, she said. I changed our wake-up call. To a military march? Langdon now heard a single flute join the drum, playing a familiar melody. Wait, is that Bolero? She gave an innocent shrug. Maybe. Ravel's orchestral masterpiece was widely considered the most erotic piece of classical music ever written.
Widely.
Often called the perfect soundtrack for lovemaking. Bolero was 15 minutes of insistent pulsing rhythm that crescendoed into a full orchestra fortissimo climax that reviewers had referred to as a C major orgasm. Subtle, you are not, blah, 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 blah. Robert, Catherine finally said, what are you doing? Oh, sorry, I should read this, actually. Subtle, you are not, Langdon said, grabbing Catherine's phone, turning up the volume, and playfully pinning her to the bed. For the next 10 seconds, he gazed into her eyes and did absolutely nothing but listen to the snare and flute duet. Robert, Catherine finally asked, what are you doing? Waiting for the clarinet entrance in measure 18, he replied. I'm not a savage. So, he is... Am I reading this right? He is waiting to penetrate her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's just standing there over her like... and she's like...
Can we get on with it?
And...
Yeah.
Insane.
Also, that's not the end of the book, but we'll
also
leave
not
it
the
there.
End of the book. Yeah.
Because it might as well be in terms of my final shred of fucking patience for this God, it's bad. Like, usually when we do these, I feel like I'm having a good amount of fun. Honestly, on these two, I'm just like,
This book was exhausting. Do not
exhausting
read it.
to read,
It's
exhausting
not
to
fun.
talk about.
Let
I hope Robert Langdon dies in the next one.
I was hoping he would die in this one.
I've hoped he's died in every one of them.
Yeah, may he.
Because you know he's going to pop up in the next one with like some new sexy scientist and something that's made up, and like no mention of Catherine ever again.
No,
like,
that's
oh,
right.
what, they're going to get married? Then
Although
there'll
I guess,
never be
as you
another
said,
Langdon
she's back in this one. So, all right, I don't want to belabor this point. Leighton, any final
Unlike
thoughts?
Dan Brown, I don't want to belabor this point.
Yeah. If we weren't going to get copyrighted, I would start playing Bolero. Right.
Would
here.
we really get copyrighted?
Do you know Bolero?
Of course I know Bolero.
Yeah, okay,
that's
great.
why
Everyone.
it's so shocking that that's what they went for after Morning Mood. It's like, yeah, let's do, if we're doing like 10 most recognizable pieces of classical music.
What is that? Whatever the beat is, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's basically.
Yeah, but I think I was doing it in 5. Bum, 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 bum. No, that's right. Da, 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 da.
Dr. Wecht, what are you doing?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the tuba. Yeah. All right. Don't read this book. It
Noetics
sucks.
is pseudoscience. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.